Good evening, and welcome to the Woodbury Roadway Conceptual Analysis Preferred Alternative Public Meeting. My name is Blanche Hardy, and I serve as the Orange County Project Manager for this project. The study begins at the Lake Underhill Road intersection and ends at State Road 50, a distance of 1.5 miles. This is the agenda for the presentation this evening. We will start out with introductions and talk about the logistics of conducting this virtual public meeting. Then we'll give an overview of the project, existing conditions, discuss the alternatives that were considered, discuss the preferred alternative that is being proposed, discuss public engagement and schedule, and then talk about the opportunities you have to provide us with feedback and public comment. Your Orange County District 4 Commissioner, Maribel Gomez Cordero, is here and would like to welcome you to the meeting tonight. Commissioner.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Commissioner Maribel Gomez Cordero. I want to thank you for attending this virtual meeting tonight. We hope to have you leave here with more information concerning the Woodbury Road RCA study recommended alignment. This process confirmed the need for transportation improvements and determined the most suitable improvements, assess the potential impacts of such improvements on the community and the environment, and allowed for the development of cost estimate. The completion of this process guides future project phases, which must be completed before a project is in place. I want to thank you again for being here and providing your feedback through questions and comments in the Q&A box. I am always at your service. Happy holidays, and hope you have all your questions answered. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Commissioner. David, are there any other elected officials that have indicated they are in the meeting?
No, Blanche, I don't see any other elected officials.
We'll start with introductions. Renzo Nastasi is the Orange County Transportation Planning Division Manager, and he's with us this evening, as is Brian Sanders, the Transportation Planning Division Assistant Manager. As I said previously, I am Blanche Hardy, the county's project manager for the Woodbury Road RCA study. Our consultant for the project is Inwood Consulting Engineers, with David Dangle serving as the consultant project manager. There are additional Orange County and consultant staff participating tonight. Now to review logistics of the meeting. All attendees have been placed in listen-only mode during the presentation. You can type your comments or questions into the question box at any time during the meeting. The question box is located on the right side of your screen. At the conclusion of the presentation, the moderator will read the questions and our team of panelists will answer your questions. This meeting will last for 1 hour. Again, please use the question box to let us know if you are having any issues. And if you are having audio issues, you can still join the audio portion of the meeting by dialing in on your phone. If you have called into the meeting with your phone, you will not be able to enter comments into the Q&A box. However, there are 2 methods to provide your opinion and ask questions after the meeting. You can call or email the project contact. This information is provided on the study website, on the newsletter, and also at the end of this presentation. You can complete a comment form on the study website. To do this, you just click on the Share Your Thoughts tab in the upper right-hand corner to get the comment form. Now we'll dive into the Woodbury Road RCA study. The purpose of the study is to identify context-sensitive and cost-feasible improvements, document the purpose and need for the project, and balance the safety, mobility, and comfort needs of all users. Consideration is given to automobiles, pedestrians, cyclists, freight, and transit. The development of alternatives is an iterative process that allows the input from each phase of the process to influence the other phases. The items on the right side of the screen are the engineering and analysis factors that are considered in the study process. Public involvement and input are important aspects of all steps of the project development process. I'd like to now give an overview of the existing conditions along the project. The items listed on the screen will be addressed from roadway geometry to crash analysis. Currently, the roadway is a 2-lane, undivided urban roadway with curb and gutter. It is relatively flat, except for the bridge over State Road 408. Turn lanes are provided at most intersections. Near the north end of the project, approaching State Road 50, the roadway widens to 4 lanes. The speed limit is 40 miles per hour for the entire project length. Land adjacent to the project is mostly developed, primarily with single-family homes and apartment complexes. There are 2 schools, Waterford Elementary School and Discovery Middle School, located adjacent to the Lake Underhill Road intersection. There are also commercial uses and 3 churches within the project limits. A complete street is a street for everyone. It is designed to enable safe access for all users, including pedestrians, bicyclists, motorists, and transit riders of all ages and abilities. Along the project corridor, continuous sidewalk is provided along the west side of the road for pedestrians. However, sidewalk on the east side is only provided from Waterford Lakes Parkway to Woodbury Cove Drive. Facilities for bicycles are not currently provided, except at the north end of the project where bike lanes currently exist approaching State Road 50. Lynx has 2 bus lines that travel along Woodbury Road between Waterford Lake Parkway and State Road 50. They are Link 320, the Avalon Park School Connector, which has a stop at Waterford Lakes Parkway, and Neighbor Link 621, which is a flex service route providing curb-to-curb service to Bithlow and Wedgefield. The project is located within the Econlockhatchee drainage basin, and water flows east toward the Econlockhatchee River. The project includes 7 primary drainage basins. Treatment and attenuation for drainage from Woodbury Road and adjacent subdivisions is provided through joint-use ponds. Woodbury Road also has a concrete box culvert for an Orange County canal that crosses under Woodbury Road. The floodplain map shows that the 100-year floodplain touches Woodbury Road just south and east of the Lake Underhill Road intersection, and in the area of the necessary expansion of Pond RET1. The rest of the project is located outside the 100-year floodplain. There are currently 9 existing stormwater ponds highlighted in yellow that receive runoff from Woodbury Road. With the widening of Woodbury Road to 4 lanes, there is a need for additional pond capacity. One additional pond site is proposed and is shown in blue. It is located near East Colonial Drive in this triangular parcel west of State Road 408, shown on the right map. One existing pond north of Lake Underhill Road and east of Woodbury Road will also need to be expanded, as shown on the map on the left. An environmental analysis has been conducted for the Woodbury Road corridor. It identified 6 wetland systems and 10 other surface waters within the project corridor. Although there are consultation areas for 3 species within the project limits, the Florida scrub jay, the red-cockaded woodpecker, and Audubon's crested caracara, they are not anticipated to be found within the corridor. Wading birds such as the wood stork, roseate spoonbill, tricolored heron, and the little blue heron, as well as the American alligator, are protected wildlife species that have the potential for being observed within or immediately adjacent to the project. No protected species or significant habitat were identified during site reviews. Wildlife crossings are not proposed due to the existing development and lack of undeveloped habitat along both sides of Woodbury Road. The project was reviewed for cultural resources and no historic buildings or archaeological sites were identified. 5 years of crash data was collected and analyzed along the corridor. There were a total of 579 crashes within the 5-year time period, with 77% of them occurring at intersections. High crash areas were the intersection of State Road 50 and Lake Underhill Road. There was one fatality, a head-on crash, and 141 injury crashes. 10 crashes involved bicycles or pedestrians. 74% of all crashes were classified as rear-end crashes, which typically occur at intersections, especially when they are over capacity. One statistic of note, 40% of the crashes were associated with drivers being distracted. The proposed improvements to Woodbury Road will enhance safety. The existing traffic volumes along Woodbury Road range from 11,900 vehicles per day south of Lake Underhill Road to 21,000 vehicles per day south of State Road 50. This results in a level of service F, which is failing within the entire project limits. The county standard is a level of service E. The design year 2047 traffic is projected to range from 19,000 vehicles per day south of Lake Underhill Road to 28,700 vehicles per day south of State Road 50. If Woodbury Road is not widened to 4 lanes, both the roadway and all intersections will fail in the design year. Therefore, Woodbury Road needs to be widened to provide needed capacity. We evaluated several alternatives to address the traffic and safety issues on the project. In addition to the no build or do nothing option, we considered minor transportation systems management and operation improvements. The no build and the option to make minor operations improvements will not satisfy the future traffic needs along Woodbury Road. Therefore, we evaluated 3 4-lane widening build alternatives. Build alternative 1 includes a sidewalk and shared use path, but no on-street bike lanes. Alternative 2 includes sidewalks and on-street bike lanes. And alternative 3 includes everything: a sidewalk on one side, a shared use path on the other side, and on-street bike lanes. We did a survey, and now I'll give you an overview of the results of the survey that was offered during the first public meeting. Detailed results are available on the project website. Starting with accommodations for people riding bikes, the survey results showed that people generally feel unsafe riding a bike along Woodbury Road. People also much preferred bikes sharing an off-road path with pedestrians than having bicyclists riding a bike in the on-street bike lane. When asked what would make you feel safer riding a bike along Woodbury Road, the top 2 answers were having bicycles separated on a path and having a shared use path. Better roadway lighting was the third selected option. For those walking, the survey indicated people feel more safe walking than they do biking along Woodbury Road. They favored more pedestrian safety features at the Lake Underhill Road intersection. And when asked what would make you feel safer walking along Woodbury Road, wider sidewalks, better lighting, and a shared use path were the top 3 responses. For drivers, the survey results showed that people are experiencing traffic congestion in both the morning and afternoon peak periods. And people think that adding roadway lanes, adding turn lanes at intersections, and improving signal timing would help to relieve traffic. The top 2 responses to the question on what could be done to improve safety on Woodbury Road are adding turn lanes at intersections and adding lanes and a raised median. Most people think the current speed limit of 40 miles per hour is just right, and most people strongly prefer that a median be constructed to control access. And lastly, each of the 3 build alternatives plus the no build alternative were rated by survey takers. Alternative 1, the preferred alternative, had the highest average rating of all alternatives. Alternative 1 had a wide sidewalk on one side of the road and a shared use path on the other. Alternative 3, which had a wide sidewalk, a shared use path, and bike lanes, was the second ranked alternative. The alternative with sidewalks and wide bike lanes, no shared use path, was ranked 3rd, and the no build alternative was ranked last. Impacts and cost for the no build and number 3 build alternatives were 3 build alternatives were determined. Alternative 1 is the preferred alternative. It has the lowest overall cost and impacts the fewest number of residents and business parcels, while still provided needing capacity and multimodal features for pedestrians and bicyclists. The preferred alternative consists of 4 11-foot travel lanes separated by a 15.5-foot median, a 6-foot sidewalk on one side of the road, and a 10-foot shared use path on the other. This alternative can be constructed within existing right-of-way except near the Lake Underhill Road and State Road 50 intersections and requires the least right-of-way of all three build alternatives. It improves mobility for people walking and biking compared to existing conditions, and it minimizes stormwater runoff and the need for additional ponds, and has the lowest construction cost of the three build alternatives. Oh, we just briefly saw the bridge there. We'll also be widening the bridge. But, oh, there we go. This is what the bridge over State Road 408 would look like with the preferred alternative. This is what the improved roadway would look like just north of the Lake Underhill Road intersection, looking south at the intersection. Here's another view of what the improved Woodbury Road would look like north of Waterford Lakes Parkway, looking north. The proposed improvements at the intersection of Woodbury Road and Lake Underhill Road are a balancing act to provide the capacity that is needed to serve the high volumes of traffic that travel through this intersection with a high number of students that cross this intersection on their way to school each day. Proposed intersection capacity improvements include adding right turn lanes northbound, southbound, and westbound, and adding a second left turn lane for the eastbound and northbound Woodbury Road movement. Improvements also include extending turn lanes so there is sufficient room to store vehicles waiting to turn. In order to maintain safety for the many students that cross here, we also propose that the signal continue to stop vehicles in all directions to allow students to cross the intersection without any conflict from cars. The proposed improvements at the intersection of Woodbury Road and East Colonial Drive include adding a second turn lane and a right turn lane northbound. The traffic analysis has also identified the need for a second right turn lane on Colonial Drive for the westbound to northbound movement. This improvement will not be constructed as part of this project, but will be recommended to the Florida Department of Transportation since Colonial Drive is a state road. The slide also shows a proposed multifamily residential development that is planned for the southeast corner of the intersection. Two options are proposed to address the proposed plan development. Preferred alternatives, management concept 1A in the area south of East Colonial Drive is shown here and includes a northbound directional median opening at the Polos East Apartments. A second option is being presented for this area that includes a full median opening at the unnamed road where a traffic signal would be added. This option is only viable if traffic signal warrants justify the installation of a traffic signal at this location. The northbound directional median opening for the Polos East Apartments would also be included with this concept. Public engagement is a very important part of the project. Your opinions and thoughts help formulate the best solution. We utilize newsletters, a project website, meetings such as this, and smaller groups or individual meetings as requested. Public hearings will also be heard before the local planning agency and Board of County Commissioners. In hearing about the corridor alternatives and the potential need for additional right-of-way, you might ask, how do I know if my property is impacted? Well, first, the county reviews citizen feedback received from the public meetings and other methods like the website comment form and survey form, the first public meeting that were given in the first public meeting. Based on the input and engineering analysis, the county selects a preferred alternative. Potential right-of-way needs are identified, and then property owners are contacted. The preferred alternative concept board that is on the project website identifies preliminary right-of-way needs. The project began in April 2018 and is expected to be completed by May of next year. We held the first community meeting in August of this year, and tonight is the second community meeting. We will then bring the recommendations to the LPA and Board of County Commissioners for final approval at meetings over the next few months. My contact information and the contact information of David Dangle, the consultant project manager, are both shown here, along with the website address. Before we begin the questions and answers, we do want to thank you for your participation in the process, including those that have attended the virtual meetings and those that have completed the online survey. This presentation has been recorded and will be available on the project website in the next few days. Now we're going to begin responding to the questions that have been entered in the Q&A box. If you have not asked a question, you can still do so. We are going to do our best to answer all questions. We have a record of questions asked during the meeting, and questions and answers will be posted on the website within 10 days of the meeting. Let's get started.
Thanks, Blanche. The first question coming in, could the project team please explain what a shared use path is?
A shared use path is typically concrete and generally 10-foot wide, and it is designed to accommodate both pedestrians and bicyclists. Because of the width, they're able to share the path at the same time.
Thanks, Blanche. Next question, did you show information about the Woodbury Road and Waterford Lake Parkway to the mall?
I don't believe that we actually had a meeting with store owners in the mall. David, did we share that with the mall?
No, we did not have a specific meeting just with them. They were outside of the project mailing list, and but we did not have a specific meeting with them.
Okay, and then we have someone asking about the survey. Who took the survey? They said that they weren't given the survey, so we just need to clarify how the survey was posted.
The survey and Roadway maps are part of the report, and when the report is posted on the website, that is typically in the appendices. I don't believe we posted that yet, but we will be posting that shortly in conjunction with work sessions with the LPA and Board of County Commissioners. But that is part of the study report, and this meeting concludes the information that we gather for the study report. So that will be published shortly.
Yeah, I think they're asking about, how did people take the survey? How were they notified of the survey?
Oh.
And I think in the first meeting, I believe in the newsletter, it referred back to the project website, which had the survey embedded within that website. So there was time before the first meeting to take the survey, and I believe we kept that survey open after the meeting as well.
I am so sorry. When you said survey, I thought you meant survey as surveyors, as in property limits. Please
Sorry.
forgive me. I
Sorry,
completely
Blanche.
misunderstood the question.
I should have been more clear on that one. Our next question, how do residents get notice of public meetings and use surveys? I think this is the first meeting I received notice for, so I think that goes back to the last question as well. But
I don't think I'm sorry, Blanche.
Oh,
I don't think we've changed our mailing list. We've added additional people to the mailing list, but we haven't deleted anybody. So if you got a notice this time, you should have got a notice the first time. We've got your name, and we'll check our mailing list to make sure that you're still on there as we go through the public hearings that will be coming up.
do you show an exhibit of the Woodbury Road and the Waterford Lakes Parkway intersection?
That is shown on the roll plot, which is available on the website. So you would go to the website, and there's a tab for documents, and you open that up, and it's alternative 1. And when you click on alternative 1, the map will open up, and you can zoom in to whatever area you want to examine within the road corridor. So you just go to the study website and go to the documents tab, and it's there. It's too large to try to show in a PowerPoint. It would be very tiny.
At the beginning, there was a discussion of endangered birds. We have pictures of roseate spoonbill, wood stork, little blue heron on the lake behind our home. Will this impact the ponds in Waterford Cove?
Maybe you can bring back the slide with the pond sites.
Yeah, Brian, I can just say that the main pond in the middle of Waterford Cove is not going to be affected. The one to the east side, along the back of the neighborhood next to the wetland, that's the one that we are looking to expand out into the wetland slightly because of the additional lanes at the Lake Underhill Woodbury Road intersection.
Got it. Got it. So there will be some changes on the backside of the cove. So, of course, we're working with all the permitting agencies. We'll have scientists and biologists that are looking at this all through the design and the construction, and we do take every precaution necessary.
Will there be markings in the shared use lane to help prevent issues between bike riders and pedestrians?
We typically do not stripe a shared use.
Yeah, if we see that there's an issue, we start getting issues, typically there'll be a separator marker, pavement marker, where at like intersections to help channelize the flow both northbound, southbound. But we're going to monitor that after the construction. We're going to continue to monitor that. I'm sure we'll get phone calls if there's issues. Commissioner's office will get phone calls, emails. So we'll monitor that and make sure. But there's plenty of things that we can do if something like that begins to occur.
Has there been any consideration for installing speed bumps on Lake Underhill Road, such as close to where it meets Waterford Chase? In other words, it would be nice to think about ways of mitigating some of the speedier and more dangerous drivers in this residential area.
Speed humps are a tool that we use for traffic calming. It's questionable whether it handles speed. You can speed in between them. However, Lake Underhill Road, Woodbury Road are at least a collector road and above, and we are not allowed to put speed humps on those roadway classifications. So the answer would be no, we will not put speed humps on those roads.
How much additional right-of-way would be necessary to complete alternative 1?
David, do you have a graphic of that? I thought we did.
We don't really have a graphic of the entire project limit, but a majority of the right-of-way needed is right at the Lake Underhill Road intersection. And then there is a little bit at the State Road 50 intersection that will be from the east side of the road where that planned development is coming in. There's not really the need for additional right-of-way north of Lake Underhill Road or south of State Road 50.
Yeah, we were very fortunate with this project that back in the 90s, the leadership at the county, when Huckleberry was being developed and Waterford and all of these projects along here, that additional road right-of-way was provided through development interaction. And so by and large, the main line right away for the road has been in place since then. And now we're benefiting greatly by coming back and utilizing that land. We did show a couple of alternatives that would have to exceed that, but I think the one that was recommended is really the sweet spot for this project.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sullivan, the community manager of Quest Village on Woodbury Road, would like to know how many feet of land in the front of our property is proposed to be taken. Can a pedestrian, do you want me to, there's a couple questions here. Do you want me to just do one at a time for you in this? Is that easier for everybody?
Sure. As shown here, you can see that the impacts by and large stay within the tracts of land that are dedicated to the homeowners association. We can meet with you offline to give you a specific footage based off of our engineered plan. And so we'd like to connect with you after this to go into much more detail of how much right-of-way acquisition. We're not going to take it. We're going to end up purchasing that from whoever that is being impacted.
Hey, Brian, this is David. I think Quest Village is a little bit north of Waterford Lakes Parkway.
Okay.
And I think through that area, we're not proposing to need any additional right-of-way besides what the county already owns for the road. So I think they should be good as far as no right-of-way impact.
Okay, so that then I answered the graphic that's up there right now. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we don't have an aerial for that specific area to show.
David, let me just add something regarding right-of-way. So I just want to let everybody know that, you know, this is a preliminary study and it identifies potential right-of-way needs once the road is constructed. However, the exact right-of-way dimensions will be determined during the design phase. So certainly we can meet with property owners to advise them as to the potential of what the impacts might be. But once we get into the design phase, which is the next phase after this, that's when we will determine exactly what those impacts are. But this study will give you a pretty good indication of what those impacts might be.
There's another part to that.
Yep, the second part to that question, can a pedestrian walkway be added from our property to cross Woodbury Road? Will any type of privacy barrier be installed for our building building closest to Woodbury Road?
I'd really like to have the map up, David, if we could slide through that just to show these locations.
The map from the website?
Yeah.
Let me see. I got to figure out how to pull that up. Give me 1 second. I can say that we are proposing to have the shared use path and a sidewalk, so there will be a pedestrian accommodations provided there in front of their development. Okay, let me see. I've got it pulled up.
Yep, we can see it.
I just need to figure out how I can scroll over and zoom in. So Quest Village is kind of above the bridge typical section, Brian. Is that helping? Can you see that?
Yeah, that's helping. So mid-block crossings need to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. You really need to be able to demonstrate that you have a good solid stream of pedestrians, bicyclists crossing at those locations. We will monitor that post-construction to see if travel patterns change, and you can be our eyes out on the road as well, and let us know if you're seeing an increase in that kind of crossings. Just south, there'll be a traffic signal, which will also offer the ability to cross the road. So for that one, I think that, you know, this is going to be a monitoring issue. And of course, we're going to complete the pedestrian paths both on the east side and west side for the entire length of the project.
Okay, and then the last of that was, will any type of privacy barrier be installed for our closest buildings to Woodbury Road?
The county has a screen wall policy. However, it is focused on platted subdivisions. So the answer would be no in the case of Quest Village. That would not apply.
Okay, we have another question regarding the survey from the previous meeting. Will you consider sending a secondary survey for those that didn't get a chance to attend or participate?
We can take your input through the project website. There is a place on the website for you to provide more information, more comments. Do we have the survey posted, or we will have the survey posted, David?
The survey is.
Survey
It's
is posted. So you can see the survey, you can see the questions, you can see the direction of questioning that we had out there, and you can provide your input and comments in that manner.
What will be the number of lanes in each direction at Woodbury and Lake Underhill? Please include crossover and turn lanes.
Okay, can you zoom in there, Dave? So north is to the right in this case, and so you'll have 2 travel lanes in all directions. Southbound, you'll have a dedicated right turn lane and 2 dedicated left turn lanes. Same way northbound, 2 lanes through, 2 lanes left turn, 1 lane right turn. So eastbound, pretty much the same thing, 2 lanes through, 1 right turn lane, 2 left turn lanes. In the other direction, we don't have a dual left there. We have a single left, a single right, and 2 throughs. And that's all based off of the projections from the traffic analysis that was conducted for this project. I'd like to note that traffic analysis was pre-COVID, so we had some good information to go off of.
Will the existing underground utilities have to be moved? This is the area behind Waterford Cove. These utilities were installed when the county installed the reclaimed water pipe several years back.
Dave, you want to take that?
I'm not specifically sure where they're talking to behind Waterford Cove. There is the potential for some utility conflicts within the existing road right-of-way, but that kind of detail on whether they will need to be relocated or not will be determined during the design phase that Renzo mentioned earlier, that you get into a lot more details at that point. I'm not sure if that specifically answers the question about Waterford Cove. We don't really.
It was specific to the large reuse line that the city of Orlando installed. So during prior to the installation of that, we did an analysis of what the future roadway might be, and we tried to locate the utility deep enough and in the right horizontal location where stormwater inlets would not conflict with that. So at this point, we're pretty confident that it's out of the way and won't have to be moved again. That was the whole exercise the first time around. But as we go into the design phase, where we have the vertical information for all the utilities, for all of our pipes that are going to be needed for drainage, we'll know for sure then. But we're pretty confident right now.
Thanks, Brian. Is alternative 1 the direction you are moving, or are options 2 or 3 still a possible choice?
Alternative 1 is the recommended alignment that will be taken to the LPA and BCC. It impacts one of the most important things is minimizing impact, particularly to residential properties. And it does minimize the impact better than alternative 2 or alternative 3. And that was a significant consideration.
Just Blanche, just to add to that. So I just want to assure the public and those that are participating in this meeting is that the local planning agency, also known as the LPA, affords you the ability to participate and voice your preferences and concerns regarding this project. And there'll be a second opportunity during the Board of County Commissioners presentation. What you're seeing this evening is the recommendation that the staff will put forward for the board's consideration and their approval of this concept, so that then we can move into the design phase. But I just want to make it clear that this is not your last opportunity to voice your opinion. There are 2 public hearings that will be scheduled, and certainly you are more than welcome to participate in those 2 events.
We will send a newsletter before each of those hearings, and we will also advertise those hearings in the newspaper for you, those of you that don't get newsletters, and we'll also place the information on the project website. So please keep in touch, and you can certainly call any of the contact people, and we'll be happy to share dates and times with you.
What is the plan for Woodbury Road south of Lake Underhill between the side entrance to Waterford Elementary and the entrance to Discovery Middle? Will 2 through lanes be added in addition to a right turn only lane headed south into Eastwood neighborhood?
Brian, this is David. The graphic on the screen shows the lanes that are being proposed. I know that we've heard a comment about the concern with carrying the 2 lanes south of the Lake Underhill Road intersection, but they're needed to help the Lake Underhill Road intersection operate efficiently. If we have 2 through lanes coming south to Lake Underhill Road, we can't just get rid of one and only have one continue through to the south. The intersection won't be able to function at a high enough level of service in the future. Same way heading in the northbound direction, we need to establish the second northbound through lane in addition to the other turn lanes to help the intersection operate efficiently. We also have had a couple meetings with the school board staff, and they have requested some additional turn lanes and lengthening of existing turn lanes that we have shown on the concept. You can see there's a new northbound right turn lane into Discovery Middle School. The southbound left on Woodbury into Discovery Middle School is about as long as we can make it because of the proximity to Lake Underhill Road. And then we've also included a northbound left into the Waterford Elementary School intersection off of Woodbury Road. And then on Lake Underhill Road, Again, we have extended the left turn lane into Waterford Elementary in that area. So that's what we've got proposed in this area. And you can see that we are transitioning back to the single lane once we get far enough south of Lake Underhill Road to transition back to the single lane in each direction through this area.
Okay.
David, with that, did we cover the about adding turn lanes headed south into the Eastwood neighborhood? Will 2 through lanes be added in addition to a right-only turn lane headed south into the Eastwood neighborhood?
No, we don't have any additional right turn lanes proposed. We just have the 2 through lanes carried through Lake Underhill heading southbound, and then the outside lane will merge so that we have a single lane once we get just past our kids daycare in that area.
Yeah, we actually went further than what the scope of the project was, but in order for that intersection to function properly, like David said, we extended further than where we had anticipated to begin with.
All right, I think we just answered this one again, but I did. Where would those 2 straight lanes merge into one before the beginning of Eastwood near the entrance to Woodbury Pines / Kids Are Kids? And I think we show that again, David.
Yeah, it's up on the screen.
Yeah,
So
pretty much that driveway is the point of transition.
Right, and we developed the second northbound lane just south of Woodbury Pines Circle, heading in northbound.
Are any additional traffic lights planned? Entering Woodbury Road from side streets is already difficult.
The traffic, yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Well, just the Blanche had shown the optional traffic signal at the north end of the project. There's a unnamed cul-de-sac up there that has the potential to warrant a traffic signal. So depending on those signal warrants, there might be a new traffic signal at that location.
Is the portion of Woodbury Road south of Lake Underhill Road considered a collector road?
Let me come back to that. I'll pull up an application and I'll follow up in this meeting. It'll take me just a couple of minutes.
Since Woodbury Road goes over State Road 408, is this in State Road 408 right of way? What role does the CFX have in this?
We've met with CFX, and the bridge widening is part of our road, and it will be a county project. So the Passover 408 is not the Expressway Authority's responsibility, it's our responsibility. And we've coordinated, there's sufficient right of way to do what we need to do to expand the bridge. So we've coordinated fairly well with them.
Looking at the exhibit of Alternative 1 at the Woodbury Road and Waterford Lakes Parkway intersection, the northbound left turn lanes into the mall look very short. On a busy weekend, the single turn lanes that are existing will back up to the bridge over State Road 408. Consider making these turn lanes longer.
Yeah, the lengths of the turn lanes were determined through the traffic study that was conducted for the project that looked out to the year 2047. So this is what the traffic report showed would be needed to adequately make the intersection operate efficiently through the design year 2047.
Going back to the functional classification from Lake Underhill South. That's a major collector urban.
The developer of the new development dedicated $600,000 to road improvement studies. How are those funds being purposed to the design of the expansion, and what effect will that have on the timetable for completing this project?
I think what that is referring to is to a proportionate share agreement. And that actually had to do with the dedication of right-of-way. And also, yes, those funds, if those funds will be utilized probably during the design phase. So any proportionate share funds that were provided, those will be utilized during the design phase.
Is design, right-of-way, and construction funded for this study?
So obviously the study is is funded, and I'm happy to report that the design is also fully funded. And as indicated earlier, the vast majority of the right-of-way is in place, but there will be some right-of-way acquisition that needs to take place. At this juncture, we don't have funding for the completion of right-of-way or the construction phase. So those phases will be subject to future capital improvement program allocations through the Board of County Commissioners.
Would you consider reducing the miles per hour in areas? I'm sorry, let me reread this. Would you consider reducing the speed limit in the area since vehicles will be much closer to residential homes?
Reducing speed limits is problematic. We do have to abide by our standards, and that is we have to apply basically what we call the 95th percentile standard, which means that the posted speed is subject to what 95% of the traffic speed is. By arbitrarily reducing the speed limit, that causes the potential for accidents, and of course enforcement becomes extremely difficult.
I think also the survey had that question on there, and people said it was just right at 40. Next.
Was construction of the proposed senior citizen apartments south of Lake Underhill considered in the design? And then the follow-up, the area where the pedestrian paths are located.
Yes, a little. In fact, I believe we had an interim project that considered that facility. We were contacted some time ago, several years back, when that was going to be constructed, and they had asked for a sidewalk to be constructed so that they could get access to the town center shopping area. So that was accommodated, and then was further reinforced with the idea of putting a multi-purpose path and crosswalks, pedestrian crossing buttons, and all of the safety enhancements that would come with this roadway project. So yes, we did it before, and we'll do it again.
How will the decision be made which side of Woodbury construction starts on?
The design plans will have a maintenance of traffic plan, and we will present that to the company that wins the construction bid. It's a recommendation to that contractor. The contractor is responsible for coming up with his own plan or adopting the plan that's in the construction plans. Typically, the first thing that happens is that any kind of utilities, you know, cable, telephone, just a myriad of utilities that are in the right of way, those get relocated first. Around the same time, the contractor will start doing any kind of stormwater preparations, like the pond to the north, the expansion of the pond to the south. At that point, they usually pick one side of the road, either the northbound or the southbound, to tackle first. And there'll be, you know, temporary lane shifts for, you know, some period of time. And then they'll go to the other side and work on that. And then all of a sudden, wham, you've got the full set of lanes open. And then they'll continue working to finish off all the other elements. So it's really up to the contractor at the end of the day, what means and methods that he's going to use, and then he's completely responsible for that through the duration of the construction project.
What compensation will you be offering for the residential homes that are impacted if you choose to go with alternative 1?
We don't have any direct impacts to residential homes. You can pull back the matrix. You can see that there are parcels impacted, 12 parcels impacted, but no acquisition of homes. The county has a right-of-way section that will work in conjunction with the design plans. The design plans will detail exactly how much property would be needed to acquire. During the design, they have the vertical information that we don't have right now in this study. So we will produce right-of-way ID maps that starts that process off. In terms of compensation, that will be handled by our right-of-way section in the Orange County Real Estate Management. There are MAI independent appraisers that are hired to put together an offer package to whoever or whatever entity, it might be the HOA in some cases, and present that as an offer, and you have the ability to negotiate and settle the project, settle the impact. So I don't have a dollar value that I think you're going to get, or the HOA is going to get. That's going to be worked out through negotiations sometime after the design, or maybe during the late stages of design.
We have 2 questions left. What phase are we in right now, and what are all of the phases necessary for project completion?
Okay, yeah, we're in the study phase right now. We'll be wrapping that up in the spring of next year. When funding for design becomes available, I believe it's in 21, that will go out for a contractor, a design contractor. That phase usually takes about 2 years to complete. There's a lot of detailed information. These are very expensive projects, and we don't want any surprises when we get to the construction part. And we don't want to have to go back and purchase additional right-of-way for things that could have been missed. So that takes a couple of years. When funding becomes available for right-of-way acquisition, we give ourselves 2 years for that. It could come in sooner than that. Once we have all the right-of-way in place, and we have to have it all in place, then we would go out for construction when funding is available there, and that's about a 2-year process as well.
Okay, and last question. Is Gulfway Boulevard a collector road? Woodbury dead ends into this road and needs to be considered in widening the southern portion of Woodbury.
Yeah, I just looked that up. Yeah, from Woodbury Road south, it's a collector. North and east, I guess, is not. So those roads are both Woodbury and that piece of Gulfway that goes down to Alafaya. We'll I hear what you're saying. We'll keep an eye on that. There is regional modeling that occurs at the regional planners, which is called Metro Plan Orlando. We'll keep an eye on the traffic volumes there. I know that we just had an intersection improvement at Gulfway and Woodbury. I'm not sure if that got completed, but I know that's a plan that's coming if it's not already done already.
Thanks, Brian. If it's all right with the project team, the time is now just after 7 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and close out the meeting. As a reminder, if you want to provide comment following the meeting, we have Blanche Hardy and David Dingle's contact information listed on the slide, or you can also visit the project website at woodburyroadstudy.com and go to the Share Your Thoughts page to submit an online comment. We'll have a recording of tonight's presentation available, as well as the PowerPoint and the survey results from the last meeting, as well as a recording of that meeting as well. If anybody wants to view any of the project materials, they are available for you there.